A poor farmer working in his field. A rich family flying in a private plane. Their worlds were completely different. Their lives had nothing in common. But one dangerous moment brought them together in a way no one could have imagined. When a farmer's simple act of bravery saved a wealthy family's lives, what happened next left everyone speechless. Sit back, relax, and find out as we delve into this emotional story. In a small village in Nigeria, there lived a farmer named Samuel. His life was simple. Every morning, he woke up before sunrise. He walked to his farm with his old hoe on his shoulder. His clothes were torn. His sandals were broken, but his heart was strong. Samuel worked hard every day. He planted yams, cassava, and maize. The sun burned his skin. The rain soaked his body, but he never complained. He had a wife named Patience and 2 young children, a boy named Chidi and a girl named Amaka. They lived in a small mud house with a leaking roof. Some nights, they ate only gari and water. Some nights, they went to bed hungry. But Samuel always smiled. He always told his children, God will provide. Just be kind to people. Always help those in need. Patience would nod and hold his hand. You are a good man, Samuel, she would say softly. Life was hard, but they had each other. Meanwhile, in the big city of Lagos, there lived a very wealthy man named Chief Okonkwo. People called him the oil tycoon. He owned companies. He owned buildings. He owned cars that cost more than some people's houses. Chief Okonkwo had a wife, Mrs. Okonkwo, and a daughter named Zainab. Zainab was 12 years old, the same age as Samuel's son, Chidi. The family lived in a mansion with tall gates, security guards, and servants everywhere. They ate the finest meals. They wore the finest clothes. They traveled in private jets. One afternoon, Chief Okonkwo decided to take his family on a trip. We will fly to Abuja for the weekend, he announced at breakfast. Mrs. Okonkwo smiled. That sounds wonderful, darling. Zainab clapped her hands. Can we visit the amusement park, Daddy? Chief Okonkwo laughed. Of course, my princess. Anything you want. They packed their bags. The driver took them to the private airstrip. The pilot, Captain Bello, was already waiting beside the small plane. Good afternoon, Chief, Captain Bello greeted with a bow. Everything is ready, sir. Chief Okonkwo nodded. Good, let us go. They boarded the plane. The engines roared. The plane lifted into the sky. Everything seemed perfect, but far above the village where Samuel lived, something went wrong. The plane's engine began to make strange sounds. Captain Bello's face became tense. He checked the controls quickly. His hands moved fast over the buttons. What is happening? Chief Okonkwo asked from his seat. His voice was calm, but his eyes showed fear. Captain Bello did not answer immediately. Sweat formed on his forehead. Sir, we have an engine problem, he said finally. I need to make an emergency landing. Mrs. Okonkwo grabbed Zainab's hand. Oh God, please protect us, she whispered. Zainab's eyes filled with tears. Daddy, I'm scared. Chief Okonkwo reached over and held his daughter's shoulder. Stay calm, Zainab. The pilot knows what to do. But inside, his heart was beating fast. The plane shook. It tilted to one side. Captain Bello's voice was firm but strained. Hold on tight. I am bringing us down. He searched below for a clear space. His eyes scanned the ground desperately. Then he saw it, a large open field. It was Samuel's farm. Down below, Samuel was bent over his crops, pulling out weeds. The sun was hot. His back ached. Suddenly, he heard a loud noise above him. He looked up. His eyes widened. A small plane was coming down fast. Smoke trailed behind it. The engine sputtered and coughed. Jesus! Samuel shouted. He dropped his hoe and stood frozen for a moment. The plane was heading straight toward his farm. His mind raced. If it crashes into the trees, they will all die, he whispered. Without thinking twice, Samuel began to run. He ran toward the far end of his farm where the ground was flat and clear. He waved his arms high in the air. Here, land here, he shouted at the top of his voice. Captain Bello saw the man on the ground waving. He saw the clear space. With all his strength, he guided the plane toward it. The wheels hit the ground hard. The plane bounced once, twice. It skidded across the dirt, throwing up dust and stones. Samuel ran alongside it, still waving, still shouting, guiding them away from the rocks and tree stumps. Finally, the plane came to a stop. Silence. Then the door opened. Captain Bello stepped out first, his legs shaking. Chief Okonkwo followed, helping his wife and daughter down. They stood there, breathing hard, faces pale. Zainab was crying softly. Mrs. Okonkwo held her close. Samuel ran toward them. His chest was heaving. His face was covered in dust and sweat. "Are you all right?" he asked breathlessly. "Is anyone hurt?" Chief Okonkwo looked at him. For a moment, he just stared. This man, this poor farmer in torn clothes, had just risked his life to help them land safely. We are fine," Chief Okonkwo said slowly. His voice was shaken. Thank you so much," Samuel nodded quickly. Come, sit down. You need water." He led them to the shade of a large tree at the edge of his farm. He ran to his small house nearby and returned with a clay pot of water and a metal cup. He poured water for each of them. Mrs. Okonkwo drank slowly, her hands still trembling. Zainab wiped her tears and drank too. Chief Okonkwo looked at Samuel closely. "What is your name?" he asked. "Samuel, sir." "I am just a farmer, Chief Okonkwo repeated softly. "You saved our lives, Samuel." Samuel shook his head humbly. "I only did what anyone should do, sir. God brought you here safely." Captain Bello was on his phone, trying to call for help. "The signal is weak," he muttered. "I will keep trying." Samuel stood up. "My village is not far. There is a phone at the junction. I can take you there." Chief Okonkwo shook his head. No. You have done enough. Just stay with us for now, please." As they waited, Samuel sat quietly with them. Patience, his wife, heard the commotion and came running from the house with Chidi and Amaka. Her eyes widened when she saw the plane and the strangers. "Samuel, what happened?" she asked, her voice full of worry. Samuel explained quickly. Patience's hand went to her chest. "Oh, thank God you are all safe." She turned to the family. "Please, come to our house. It is small, but you can rest there." Mrs. Okonkwo looked at the small mud house in the distance. It was so different from her mansion, but her heart softened. "Thank you," she said gently. They all walked slowly to Samuel's house. Inside, it was dark and simple. There were only 2 rooms, a few mats on the floor, a small wooden table, but it was clean. Patience quickly spread a mat for them to sit on. Chidi and Amaka stood shyly by the door, watching. Zainab looked at them and gave a small smile. "Hello," she said softly. Chidi smiled back. "Hello." Samuel's children had never seen people dressed so beautifully before, but they were kind and did not stare too long. Patience boiled water and made tea with the little sugar she had left. She served it to the guests in her best cups. Chief Okonkwo sipped the tea slowly. It was sweet and warm. He looked around the small house. No fancy furniture, no electronics, just love and simplicity. Finally, Captain Bello's phone call went through. Yes, we are safe," he said into the phone. "Send a car and a recovery team. I will send the location." He turned to Chief Okonkwo. "Help is on the way, sir. It will take about 2 hours." Chief Okonkwo nodded. Those 2 hours felt long, but they were also strangely peaceful. Samuel and his family did not ask for anything. They did not beg. They only offered kindness. At one point, Chief Okonkwo asked Samuel, "How long have you been farming here?" Samuel looked down at his rough hands. "All my life, sir. My father was a farmer. His father was a farmer. This is all I know. Do you make enough to live on?" Chief Okonkwo asked gently. Samuel hesitated. "Some years are good. Some years are hard. But we manage. God is faithful." Chief Okonkwo fell silent. He thought of his own life, the wealth, the comfort, the security. And yet this man, who had so little, had given everything to help him. When the car finally arrived, it was a large black SUV sent by Chief Okonkwo's company. 2 men stepped out. "Chief, we are here to take you home," one of them said. Chief Okonkwo stood up slowly. He turned to Samuel. "I will never forget what you did today." Samuel bowed his head slightly. "It was nothing, sir." I am just happy you are safe." Chief Okonkwo reached into his pocket and pulled out some narrow notes. He tried to hand them to Samuel. "Please, take this. It is the least I can do." But Samuel stepped back. "No, sir, I did not help you for money. I helped because it was the right thing to do." Chief Okonkwo's eyes widened. He had never met anyone who refused money before. Mrs. Okonkwo touched her husband's arm gently. "Let him be," she whispered. Chief Okonkwo nodded slowly and put the money back. "Then I will find another way to thank you," he said firmly. They said their goodbyes. Zainab hugged Chidi and Amaka quickly. "Thank you," she whispered. Then the family got into the SUV and drove away. Samuel stood at the edge of his farm, watching the car disappear into the distance. Patience came and stood beside him. "That was a strange day," she said softly. Samuel nodded. "Yes, but God is good." Days passed. Life returned to normal for Samuel. He worked his farm. He cared for his family. He did not think much about the plain or the rich family. He did not expect anything. But Chief Okonkwo could not stop thinking about Samuel. Every night, he remembered the farmer's humble face. He remembered the torn clothes. He remembered the refusal of money. One evening, Chief Okonkwo sat in his study. His wife came in with a cup of tea. "You have been very quiet since we came back," she said. Chief Okonkwo sighed. "I cannot stop thinking about that farmer, Samuel. He saved our lives, and when I tried to thank him, he refused." Mrs. Okonkwo sat beside him. "He is a rare man. People like him are hard to find." Chief Okonkwo nodded slowly. "I want to do something for him, something big, but I do not want to insult him." Mrs. Okonkwo smiled gently. "Then do not give him money. Give him something that will change his life, but in a way that respects his dignity." Chief Okonkwo looked at his wife. Her words struck his heart. "You are right," he said. He picked up his phone and called his personal assistant. "I need you to arrange something for me," he said. "Find out everything about Samuel, his family, his needs, his dreams, but do it quietly. I do not want him to know yet." Over the next 2 weeks, Chief Okonkwo's assistant visited Samuel's village. He spoke to neighbors. He spoke to the local chief. He learned that Samuel's children, Chidi and Amaka, were very smart but could not go to school because there was no money for fees. He learned that Samuel's farm was small and the soil was getting weak. He learned that the roof of their house leaked badly during the rainy season. He learned that Patience was a skilled seamstress but had no sewing machine. The assistant reported everything back to Chief Okonkwo. Chief Okonkwo listened carefully. His heart felt heavy. "This man who saved my family lives like this," he thought. When the assistant finished, Chief Okonkwo leaned back in his chair. "Prepare everything," he said. "I am going back to that village." One sunny morning, Samuel was in his farm as usual. Suddenly, he heard the sound of cars. He looked up. 3 large SUVs were driving toward his house. His heart beat faster. "What is happening?" he whispered. The cars stopped. Chief Okonkwo stepped out. Samuel dropped his hoe and walked quickly toward him. "Chief, sir, is everything all right?" Chief Okonkwo smiled warmly. "Everything is fine, Samuel. I came to see you." Samuel looked confused. "Me? But why, sir?" Chief Okonkwo gestured toward the house. "Can we sit and talk?" Samuel nodded quickly. Yes, of course." Patience came out of the house, her eyes wide with surprise. Chidi and Amaka peeked from behind her. They all sat under the same tree where they had sat weeks before. Chief Okonkwo began to speak. His voice was calm but serious. "Samuel, the day you saved my family, you did something I will never forget. You did not ask for anything. You did not expect anything. But I cannot move on with my life knowing that you and your family are struggling." Samuel shook his head quickly. "Sir, please, we are fine. We manage. You do not owe us anything." Chief Okonkwo raised his hand gently. "Please, let me finish." Samuel fell silent. Chief Okonkwo continued. "I have learned about your family. I know your children cannot go to school. I know your farm is struggling. I know your house needs repair. Samuel, I want to help you. Not because I owe you, but because I respect you." Tears began to fill Samuel's eyes. He did not know what to say. Chief Okonkwo turned to his assistant. The assistant opened a folder and handed it to Chief Okonkwo. First, Chief Okonkwo said, "I have enrolled Chidi and Amaka in the best secondary school in the state. All their fees, uniforms, books, and transport will be paid for as long as they want to study." Patience gasped. Her hands covered her mouth. Chidi and Amaka looked at each other with wide eyes. Second, Chief Okonkwo continued, "I have arranged for agricultural experts to come and help you improve your farm. New seeds, fertilizers, modern tools, everything you need. This farm will grow, Samuel. You will not struggle anymore." Samuel's lips trembled. He could not speak. Third, Chief Okonkwo said, "I have arranged for builders to come and construct a new house for you and your family. A strong house with a solid roof, proper rooms, and clean water." Patience began to cry softly. She held Amaka close. And finally, Chief Okonkwo said, pulling out a small package, "This is for you, Patience." He handed it to her. Patience opened it slowly. Inside was a brand new sewing machine. Her hands shook. "For me," she whispered. Chief Okonkwo nodded. "Yes, I heard you are a talented seamstress. Now you can sew and earn money for your family." Patience broke down in tears. She fell to her knees. "Thank you, sir. Thank you so much." Samuel could not hold it in anymore. Tears rolled down his face. He stood up and tried to speak, but his voice broke. "Sir, I do not know what to say." Chief Okonkwo stood and placed his hand on Samuel's shoulder. "You do not need to say anything, Samuel. You showed me what true kindness looks like. Now let me show you my gratitude." The weeks that followed were like a dream. The builders came and constructed a beautiful house for Samuel's family. It had 3 bedrooms, a kitchen, a sitting room, and a strong roof that would never leak. Chidi and Amaka were enrolled in school. They wore neat uniforms and carried new school bags. Their faces glowed with pride. Agricultural experts came to Samuel's farm. They taught him new methods of planting. They gave him better seeds. Within months, his farm began to produce more than it ever had. Patience set up a small sewing shop in front of their new house. Women from the village came to her for clothes. She smiled every day as she worked on her new machine. The whole village was amazed. People whispered, "See what Samuel's kindness brought him." One evening, Chief Okonkwo came to visit again. This time, he brought Zainab with him. Samuel's family welcomed them warmly. They all sat together in the new sitting room. Zainab ran to Chidi and Amaka. "Your house is so nice," she said happily. Chidi grinned. "Thank you. Your father built it for us." Chief Okonkwo looked at Samuel. "How is everything?" Samuel smiled, his eyes full of peace. "Sir, I do not have words. My children are in school. My wife has work. My farm is growing. You have blessed us beyond measure." Chief Okonkwo shook his head. "No, Samuel, you blessed me first. You reminded me that wealth is not just in money. It is in character. It is in kindness." Mrs. Okonkwo, who had also come, spoke softly. "Samuel, you did not save just our lives that day. You changed our hearts." Months turned into a year. Samuel's life was completely transformed. His children excelled in school. Chidi wanted to become an engineer. Amaka wanted to become a doctor. Patience's sewing business grew so much that she hired 2 other women to help her. Samuel's farm became one of the most productive in the region. He began to teach other farmers what he had learned. The village respected him even more. But Samuel never changed. He remained humble. He still woke up early. He still worked hard. He still helped his neighbors. One day, a journalist heard about the story and came to interview Samuel. "Mr. Samuel," the journalist asked, "how does it feel to go from poverty to prosperity?" Samuel thought for a moment. Then he smiled. "I was never poor," he said quietly. "I always had love. I always had family. I always had God. What Chief Okonkwo gave me was comfort, but I was never poor in spirit." The journalist wrote down his words carefully. The story was published in newspapers. People across Nigeria read it. Some cried. Some were inspired. Many said, "This is the kind of story we need to hear." Chief Okonkwo read the article in his office. He smiled and showed it to his wife. "Look," he said. "Even now, Samuel teaches me." Mrs. Okonkwo nodded. "He is a wise man." Years later, Chidi and Amaka both graduated from university. Chidi became a successful engineer. Amaka became a medical doctor. At their graduation ceremony, Chief Okonkwo and his family were there, sitting in the front row. When Chidi's name was called, Chief Okonkwo stood and clapped loudly. When Amaka's name was called, Mrs. Okonkwo wiped tears from her eyes. After the ceremony, they all gathered at Samuel's house for a celebration. The house was full of laughter, full of joy, full of thanksgiving. Samuel stood in the middle of the room and raised his hand. Everyone became quiet. "I want to say something," Samuel began. His voice was steady and strong. "Many years ago, I was just a poor farmer. I had nothing but my family and my faith. Then one day, God brought a plane to my farm. I did not know that helping strangers that day would change my life forever." He looked at Chief Okonkwo. "Chief, you say I saved your life, but you gave my children a future. You gave my wife dignity. You gave me hope. I will never forget your kindness." Chief Okonkwo stood up. "And I will never forget yours, Samuel. You taught me that the greatest wealth is not in what we have, but in who we are." Everyone clapped. There was not a dry eye in the room. Zainab, now a young woman, stood beside Chidi. They had become close friends over the years. "Your father is an amazing man," she said. Chidi smiled. "So is yours." But the story did not end there. Chief Okonkwo had one more surprise. A few weeks after the graduation, he invited Samuel and his entire family to Lagos. Samuel was nervous. "Why does he want us to come to the city?" he asked Patience. Patience adjusted her headscarf and smiled. "Whatever it is, God is with us." They traveled by car. When they arrived at Chief Okonkwo's mansion, Samuel's eyes widened. The gates were tall. The compound was beautiful. Guards stood at every corner. A maid welcomed them inside. The house was like a palace. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, soft carpets. Chidi whispered to Amaka, "This place is like something from a movie." Chief Okonkwo and his wife came down the grand staircase. "Welcome, welcome," Chief Okonkwo said warmly. "Please, come to the dining room." They all sat at a long table filled with food. Rice, chicken, fish, salad, fruits, drinks. Everything looked delicious. Samuel's family ate slowly, carefully. After the meal, Chief Okonkwo stood. "Samuel, I asked you to come here today because I have something important to tell you." Samuel looked up. His heart began to beat a little faster. Chief Okonkwo continued, "Over the years, I have watched you. I have seen how you use every blessing wisely. You do not waste. You do not boast. You share with others. You teach your children well." Samuel nodded quietly. "Thank you, sir." "Because of this," Chief Okonkwo said, "I want to offer you something. I own several businesses. One of them is an agricultural company. I want you to manage the farming operations in your region." Samuel's mouth opened slightly. "Me, manage a company?" Chief Okonkwo smiled. "Yes, you. You know farming better than anyone I know. You understand the land. You understand the people. I will provide training. I will provide support. But I want you to lead." Patience grabbed Samuel's hand under the table. Tears filled her eyes. Samuel looked down. His voice was shaking. "Sir, I am just a village farmer. I do not know if I can." "You can," Chief Okonkwo interrupted gently. "I believe in you, just like you believed in me that day when you guided my plane to safety." Samuel's tears began to fall. He wiped them quickly. "I accept, sir. I will do my best." Chief Okonkwo walked over and embraced him. "Welcome to the family business, my brother." The months that followed brought more change. Samuel was trained by experts. He learned about business management, supply chains, and modern agriculture. At first, it was difficult, but Samuel was a fast learner. He asked questions. He took notes. He never gave up. Within a year, the company's farming operations grew by 30%. Farmers in Samuel's region were earning more. The soil was healthier. Crops were better. Chief Okonkwo called Samuel one day. "Samuel, I am proud of you," he said over the phone. "You have done more than I expected." Samuel smiled. "It is all because of you, sir. You gave me the chance." "No," Chief Okonkwo said firmly. "It is because of who you are. You were always a leader, Samuel. You just needed the opportunity." Meanwhile, Chidi began working as an engineer in one of Chief Okonkwo's construction companies. Amaka opened a small medical clinic in Samuel's village, providing free care to those who could not afford it. Patience's sewing business expanded. She now had a shop in the nearby town. She employed 10 women. The entire family was thriving. One evening, Samuel sat outside his house, looking at the stars. Patience came and sat beside him. "What are you thinking about?" she asked softly. Samuel smiled. "I am thinking about that day. The day the plane came down. If I had ignored it, if I had run away, if I had been selfish." Patience rested her head on his shoulder. "But you did not. You helped. And look at us now." Samuel nodded. "God is faithful, Patience. He really is." They sat in silence, holding hands, grateful for everything in life. Kindness is never wasted. Samuel had nothing to gain when he helped that plane land safely. He did not know who was inside. He did not know they were rich. He just knew they needed help. And because of that one selfless act, his whole life changed. This story teaches us that we must never ignore someone in need. You never know how God will use that moment to bless you. Sometimes, the person you help today is the person who will lift you tomorrow. Help is never lost. It always comes back. Wealth and status mean nothing if we do not have compassion. Samuel was poor, but he was rich in heart. Chief Okonkwo was rich, but he learned that money alone does not make a man great. Together, they showed the world that true greatness is found in how we treat others. So tell me, what did you learn from this story? Share your thoughts in the comment section. I would love to read from you. Another very interesting story will be uploaded in a few days. So, subscribe to the channel and turn on your notification bell so you will be notified immediately I upload the next story. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends so others can also learn from it. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you.